Hi guys, welcome to the CATWay. So in this video, we are going to solve our daily set. And before we begin, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. So the question before us is that in the given data given below, table 1 indicates the number of fruit bearing trees planted by 6 friends on 3 days, day 1, day 2, and day 3. So on day 1, like Ashish planted 4 trees, Bobby planted 2, Chetan 2, Dinesh 1, Ekant 2, and Farhan 2. Similarly, on day 2, Ashish planted 4, Bobby 1, Chetan 1, and so on. This is how the table 1 reads like. Okay, coming to table 2. So table 2 shows the number of trees of each of the 6 types planted on these 3 days. The following conditions must be valid. So before going to the conditions, let us understand how the table 2 reads like. So table 2 is that on day 1, 2 apple trees were planted, 2 banana trees, 4 coconut trees, 2 guava trees, and so on. Day 2, there were no apple trees, 2 banana, 4 coconut, 2 guava, and so on for day 3 as well. Okay. Now the conditions that have been given to us is that on any day, each of them planted only one type of tree. So only one type of tree they are going to plant. Okay. Now from among Ashish, Dinesh, and Farhan, exactly 2 people planted the same type of trees on day 2 and day 3 as they planted on day 1. So that means out of these 3, only there are going to be 2 people who planted the same type of tree on all the 3 days. Third point is the person who planted exactly one orange tree on day 3 had also planted orange trees on each of the first 2 days. And Dinesh did not plant a banana tree on day 2. So these are the 4 conditions we have been given. So first thing that we should do is, guys, let's make our table. So we have day 1, day 2, and day 3. Okay. And we have 6 friends A, B, C, E, F. So these are the 6 friends that we have. Okay. Now, what do we do? All right. Okay. Now, if you look closely, guys, so if you look at Ashish, he has planted 4 trees on day 1. Okay. Now, 4 trees of on day 1 he is planting, and if you check the table number 2, you will see that 4 trees of coconut were planted. Now, Ashish cannot divide his 4 trees as 2 apple, 2 banana, and so on. Okay. All the 4 trees are going to be of the same type. Now, since there are no other trees that were planted 4 or more than 4 in number, then it is certain that all the 4 trees that of coconut that were planted by Ashish. 4 coconut trees. And on the same way, day 2 for Ashish will also go into 4 coconut trees. Okay. So this is happening. Now, if you look at day 3, okay, if you look at day 3, you see that there were 7 orange trees that were there. Okay, there were 7 orange trees. Now, Bobby and Chetan, they cannot plant any other type of tree because they cannot distribute the 2 or 4 trees into different types, right? So if Bobby has to plant 2 trees, it has to be of the same type. And the only possibility is in orange, right? So Bobby will be planting 2 orange trees. And similarly, Chetan will be planting 4 orange trees. Chetan will be planting 4 orange trees. Okay. So this has been given to us. Okay. Now, one more thing, if you look at Dinesh, so Dinesh planted only one tree on day 1, right? And the only possibility he has is that he planted that one tree that he planted was of mango. Why? See, he could have planted any other type. He could have planted, let's say, banana. If he planted banana, then Bobby, Chetan, Ekant, and Farhan, they need two trees of all types, but coconut and banana of one type, one banana is gone. So they cannot have three trees of 4 different types, so they can be distributed among them. So it is not a possibility for Dinesh to plant any other type of tree on day 1. So the only possibility that Dinesh has is of planting one mango tree. Okay. Now let us move ahead. Okay. Now one orange tree has been planted. Okay, one orange tree has been planted on day 3. That is remaining that we haven't been able to decode right now. Okay. Now that one tree is not being planted by Bobby, and neither it has been planted by Chetan. Bobby and Chetan have not planted it. Okay. Also, it has been given that the one person who planted the one left orange tree on day 3 also planted the orange tree on the initial 2 days. So they cannot be A and D also, because if A planted orange on day 3, he should have planted orange on day 1 and day 2 as well. And the same case for Dinesh. So the only possibility of the last orange tree that is remaining is Ekant and Farhan. Now let's say if Farhan have planted that one orange tree, Okay, then he must have planted orange tree on day 2 as well. On day 2, Farhan has to plant 2 trees, but on day 2, only 1 orange tree was planted. So that means Farhan will have to distribute his 2 trees of day 2 into 2 different categories, which is again not possible. So Farhan planting that one single orange tree on day 3 is not a possibility. So we are only left with one possible option, that is of Ekant. So Ekant will be planting that one orange tree, and similarly Ekant will be planting the orange tree on all the days. Okay, so orange trees are gone. All right, now let us move ahead. Okay, now if you go to the second point that has been given, it says from among Ashish, Dinesh and Farhan, exactly 2 people planted the same type of tree. Okay, it has been given exactly 2 people out of these 3 planted the same type of tree on all the 3 days. Okay, chalo. So that means what are the possible, if this guy Ashish has to plant the same tree, it has to be coconut. If Dinesh has to do it, it has to be mango. And if Farhan has to do it, then it has to be at any cost. Okay, what can it be? It cannot be orange, it cannot be mango, it cannot be coconut. Okay, it cannot be orange, mango or coconut. What is the other possibility that we have? Okay, so if you look closely, he cannot have coconut, he cannot have mango, he cannot have orange. So apple, banana and guava, but apple and banana also cannot be the possible cases because Farhan did plant 1 tree on day 3, but apple and banana are 0. So the only possibility for Farhan is having guava. Okay, now guys, if you look closely, you are left with coconut, guava and mango on day 3, which are to be distributed right now, and they will get occupied in the same order. Why will they get occupied in the same order? Because let's say if you give one mango tree to, let's say this guy Ashish. Okay, then Dinesh needed to have a mango tree. Okay, Dinesh needed to have a mango tree. So if Dinesh needed to have a mango tree, he cannot have it. So he will have something of guava or coconut. Let's say he has guava, or let's say he has coconut. Whatever he takes, there will be 2 people out of these 3 who will not be planting the same tree on all 3 days. And we know that exactly 2 means there have to be 2 people who planted this, right? So even if you go anything beyond this, like apart from this possibility, your condition will not satisfy. We took tried at mango, let's try at guava. So if you give guava to him, so Farhan cannot have guava. If Farhan cannot have guava, then A and F both cannot have the same trees. So there will be at max only one person will be left who could plant the same tree on all 3 days. But we know that there are 2 people. So on day 3, it is clear that Ashish planted 1 coconut, Dinesh planted 1 mango, and Farhan planted 1 guava. So this is certain. Okay. Now that means A is among these 3 people, A is that one person who has planted the same type of tree on all 3 days. Now we have to identify between Dinesh and Farhan who is the second person. Okay, so let's start with Dinesh, because for Dinesh we know what he planted on day 1 and day 3. Now if you talk about day 2, if you talk about his day 2, we know he cannot plant coconut. Okay, we know he cannot plant coconut. He cannot plant an apple. Because of the statement 4, we know he cannot plant a banana. Okay, he cannot plant a banana. So apple is gone, banana is gone, coconut is gone. And we are assuming that he did not plant mango. We are assuming that he did not plant mango. Sorry guys. He did not plant mango. So the only possibility that is left for him is, acha, he also cannot have orange because orange is also gone with Ekant. Okay, so all these are gone. So one possibility that is left will be, okay, one possibility that is left is for guava. Okay, so let's assume that Dinesh planted 1 guava. If Dinesh planted 1 guava, then Farhan has to be the person who planted the same type of tree on all 3 days. So Farhan will also plant guava, but out of the 2 guava, 1 was taken by Dinesh. So the other guava has to go to Farhan. But Farhan planted 2 trees. Out of that, 1 is guava. Now the second tree has to be of some other type, but that is not possible because of the point 1. Okay, so from here we realize that giving guava to Dinesh is not a possibility. So the only possibility for Dinesh is, because he cannot have coconut, he cannot have banana, he cannot have apple, he cannot have orange, and now also he cannot have guava. So the only possibility is him taking 1 more mango tree. Okay, him going with 1 more mango tree. Now that is all we could have done with the set, guys. Rest everything is in possible cases, so nothing can be derived as of now. So we'll directly move towards the questions now. Now, who planted orange tree on all 3 days? So we know it's Ekant. So option number B is the right answer. For how many friends can the number of trees planted of each type can be conclusively determined? That is for surety, with surety. So we know the available data only for 3 people, like all the data for only for 3 people. So the correct answer for this question will be option number A, 3. Come to question number 3. What is the maximum number of guava tree planted by Farhan in all 3 days collectively? Now, one guava tree has already planted. Okay. Now, if he goes, he has two trees on both day 1 and day 2. Now, on one day, he cannot distribute it. So whatever the 2 type of trees are, they are both going to be the same. Now, on both days, he cannot have 2 guava and 2 guava. That won't be a possibility. So at maximum, he can have a 2 guava on one of these days of the remaining 2 days. That is day 1 and day 2. On one day, he can have 2 guavas. So in total, in maximum, he can have a total of 3 guavas that he can plant on all the 3 days combined. So option number B, 3 will be our correct answer for this case. So this was a pretty good set, guys, and hope you have understood the set well. Thanks for watching the video.